So there's a group of ski jumpers called the Free Birdmen, and basically they have this flat on top of their head, and they can't compete in the ski jump, which is about to open like in the space of 2 days, because they can't put their helmets on. That is the half of it. There's a lot more going on behind closed doors than what the anime led on to believe, that we as an audience are meant to figure out for ourselves, and we're meant to interpret the anime our own selves. We're not like given the interpretation like full blown straight in your face. It's kind of hidden behind a lot of our meanings. You could just give your own meaning. It could be damn correct, because literally it is. There's a whole lot of meanings behind this episode. And it kind of makes me more interested to find out more about it, in a sense. It's kind of saying that sometimes you really can't just give up on the past, because the past itself can creep up on you. In a sense, you're really trying to get past this whole idea you had originally, but when you get to a certain point, it just creeps back up with you. In a sense, you really could piss off someone, and it just comes back to you. In a sense, a Pirikapi saying, look, you're destroying civilization here, I'm basically making civilization myself, and she makes people into trees. And you kind of see this whole idea that maybe the whole idea behind this episode as well was the whole idea of deforestation, the whole idea of destroying nature to get these kind of like ski jumps. I'm not too sure. That's one of those things I'm not too sure whether or not it was actually one of the meanings behind it, because it looked like it was, because the Pirikapi spirit itself does actually plant seeds and makes forests, and the fact that she actually made a forest out of those people as well, it kind of made me realise, is it just her trying to say that you shouldn't actually destroy civilization? You gotta let nature do its thing, because nature is beautiful. You shouldn't destroy it. Is that one of the hidden meanings behind it? Because I thought to myself, if anything, that's actually quite a nice like hidden meaning. It also had the whole idea that you really shouldn't demean people because they're kind of not done with what have you done. Since basically the Free Birdmen are artificial superhumans, so basically they are freaking down like OP'd. They can like win gold medals and stuff like that, but Amato, which is actually kind of main dude of this episode, basically doesn't actually go through with that. He says to himself, I'm not doing it, I don't want to do it. Basically he gets made out to be a traitor, so he didn't follow what had happened, since he's kind of thinking to himself, well, what happens if I went for the surgery, became an artificial superhuman, and I didn't win the medal? What would happen then? I still would be exiled from the group. So him basically saying, I didn't want to actually take this on, because I'm saying to myself, even if I didn't win the medal, I'd still be disgraced, but he was disgraced anyway. So, and then in the end, when he actually made that jump himself, without any help, it kind of says to you that, look, you may be different, but you still can achieve what you want to do. You still shouldn't just give up on what you're saying. People will say, oh, he can't do what he wants to do, but just don't give up on it. Just keep going, because one day you'll just get there. I thought to myself, that's actually quite a nice meaning. If that's the meaning itself, freaking good on you, because that's actually a really, really freaking nice meaning. It's one of those, I think it's one of those episodes itself that it doesn't really present itself as, it presents itself as quite straightforward. It was a really straightforward episode. It's basically them trying to get that flower off their head, but in the end the flower itself kind of all got into the ski jump itself and then turned them all to like kind of trees, but in the end it kind of just also had the whole idea of the actual ritual behind the whole idea of the Pirikapi, which actually in turn happened also quite a long time ago with Amato, because he was a part of it. And then no time back to normal. That's kind of like the main thing of it. The fact it actually didn't even jump timelines as well, kind of made you realise this is quite a more of a straightforward episode, but it was embellished in meaning behind it that kind of actually elevated it beyond the fact of being straightforward. Like last week's episode was quite straightforward, but the whole idea of self-image, that's kind of the main focal point of the whole episode. This one had quite a few of them. But I think to myself, it wasn't a bad episode, it's great. The animation sometimes took a hit. Like, I think it's one of those, I'm getting the idea that actually, this is the kind of sidelines Bones project, in the sense basically Bones aren't putting too much, like, kind of, I guess, like, money into it, in a sense. It's kind of like the animation's kind of taking a hit here and there. Granted, it's not too distracting. I'm not saying anything that you shouldn't watch it because the animation's dreadful. It's not. It's still really nice in places, but you can notice that sometimes the budget isn't as great as any other anime they've done this season. But still, it isn't distracting because it's nice. The whole episode, I loved it. I thought it was one of those episodes you shouldn't really just bypass, because the meanings behind it is freaking amazing. It's great to actually kind of sit here and actually theorize what it actually truly means, because I thought at first the whole idea of doping, in a sense, the whole idea kind of actually like artificially trying to up your body to actually win medals, whole idea that if you didn't do it, could you actually win these medals, because the actual like Free Birdmen themselves are artificial superhumans. So it's the idea that whether or not they went through with the whole idea of artificially like upping their body, actually let them win a medal, because basically the whole idea of Amato not actually kind of artificially like upping his body with the superhuman strength is basically him trying to say like, look, if I did it, would I win those medals, or wouldn't I win those medals? Could I win it without doing that? So I was kind of thinking to myself, it's a whole hidden meaning also the fact that you shouldn't really do these kind of things, you shouldn't do drugs, these kind of things, because you still can win without it. Is that the whole meaning behind it as well? I'm not too sure. It's a lot of meanings. There's a lot freaking in this episode that I can honestly say. It's freaking amazing. I like it. It's one of those. This is one of those animes you shouldn't pass on because it has a lot of meaning. Yes, it's quite hard to comprehend. I do agree, since you really just can't sit here and say, "Oh, I understand everything in it," because I don't. I personally don't understand everything that's going on in here. But I love sitting here and talk about it because it actually is interesting. It kind of has that whole idea that the plot itself doesn't present itself as straightforward. But it's interesting in its own regard to try to theorize what it actually truly means. That's what the whole thing is. It's really interesting to theorize what it means and what the actual outcomes of the episodes are. So yeah, overall I freaking damn liked it. So yeah, with all that said, I have been the driver. You leave a like, do leave a like. That's something quite a bit. Leave a sub. Do leave a sub. That's something quite a bit. But with all that said, I've been the driver, and I will see you guys later. Bye for now.